While involuntarily admiring the phenomenal grandeur of the panorama of the Pampa, another counter-feeling crossed the mind of Rama and Lakshmana. The pang of their separation from Bharata due to family commitments and that from Sita due to extraneous forces prevented them from being fully absorbed in the divinity of the apparently mundane locality. Lakshmana was still hopeful of tracing out the whereabouts of Sita. His gait was therefore imbued with grit and grace. Escorting his brother, he marched towards the Mount Rishyamukha. The determined approach of the two warriors to Rishyamukha created panic in the monkeys that had taken refuge there. Many a time they had been harassed in novel ways, and this seemed yet another device to tease and torture. Therefore, leaving Anjaneya behind to encounter the assailants, the other 4 monkeys took to their heels into the Matanga ashrama presence. The spiritual atmosphere of that ashrama was such that safety was assured to all beings that went into it. But Anjaneya was not in need of any such protection. He was the one entity who faced all eventualities with evenness of mind and who invariably became victorious in all of his undertakings. So he stayed to face the situation. As Rama and Lakshmana came along, Anjaneya gazed at them intently and interrogated.
You beings of conflicting demeanor, who and what are you about?
What is the conflict that you find in us? Said Lakshmana.
You look like devas, but your feet tread on earth. You are arrayed like ascetics, but you own deadly weapons. You look like sages, but sorrow is written large on your faces. You look like perfected beings who neither seek nor avoid, but you seem to be searching for something which you have lost. This is the conflict that I see in you,
said Anjaneya. Rama said, Lakshmana, he is an educated man. Picking up friendship with him will be beneficial to us. Introduce us to him. Lakshmana related in brief particulars about themselves up to the loss of Sita. He added that one Kapanda released by these brothers from a curse became Danu, a celestial, and instructed them to seek the aid of Sugriva for the recovery of Sita. Anjaneya, also known as Hanuman and as Maruti, was delighted over this new contact and friendship. He introduced himself as the minister of the fugitive monkey king Sugriva and offered to carry the brothers to the hiding place of his king. Due to this easy conveyance, they could meet Sugriva quickly and pick up acquaintance with him. Anjaneya told Sugriva of the plight of the newly come brothers. In his turn, Sugriva related to Rama how his brother Vali misunderstood him and how Vali took possession of his wife and drove him away. Both of them were more or less in the same sorry situation. Rama could solve Sugriva's problem and Sugriva could solve Rama's problem. They lit fire, walked round it hand in hand, and took pledge for mutual help and friendship. Exactly at that time, the imprisoned Sita's left eye throbbed. It was a good omen for women. The left eye of Vali and Ravana throbbed also at the same time. It was a bad omen for man. Rama was found by Sugriva to be disconsolate over the loss of Sita. So he persuaded the grieved prince to pick up courage. He offered to find out Sita wherever she was kept concealed. He also recounted his seeing a young woman being carried in the air by a Rakshasa, his hearing her cry out to Rama and Lakshmana, and his picking up and preserving a bundle of ornaments dropped down by her in its midst. Asked by Rama, he brought out from the cave a yellow scarf and the jewels. Rama recognized them as the belongings of Sita and gave vent to a fresh feeling of sorrow. Then he asked his brother to scrutinize the articles, but Lakshmana could only recognize the anklet and not the bangles and necklace. This was due to his seeing the feet only of Sita during his daily prostration before her. Such was his veneration for the sister-in-law. Moreover, an austere man never glances his eye at a woman. Mutual help is a mark of friendship. Sugriva stood in need of redemption from banishment and persecution. Further, his wife had to be restored to him. His plight was identical with that of Rama in being empireless and bereft of wife. Mutual sympathy was therefore spontaneous. Each was in a position to help the other. Rama agreed to redress the wrong that Vali had done to Sugriva, his younger brother. But before he launched out into action, he wanted to know the cause of the trouble between the two. An undertaking must be backed by truth and righteousness. Sugriva presented the case. One demon known as Mayavi once attacked Kishkindha. Both Vali and Sugriva rushed out to vanquish the offender. Mayavi ran away chased by the brothers. Finding a large cave, the enemy entered into it for safety. Vali instructed the brother to keep watch at the mouth of the cave while he pursued the demon in the den. Sugriva kept vigilant watch for 1 full year. A rumble resembling the voice of Vali was heard from within the cave. Subsequently, blood was flowing out. Sugriva thought that the Asura had slain Vali, so he rolled a big rock and covered the cave to prevent the enemy from coming out. Pressed by the ministers, Sugriva assumed the throne of Vali. What happened within the cave was that Vali managed to kill Mayavi. When the victor wanted to come out, he found the mouth blocked. With great difficulty, he pushed aside the boulder and emerged boiling with anger. To add to his bitterness, he found Sugriva occupying his throne. Explanations were all rejected. Sugriva's wife Ruma was forcibly taken possession of, and Sugriva was banished from the kingdom. It was possible for Rama alone to set right this tragedy. Rama assured Sugriva that he would put an end to Vali's tyranny and that he would regain for him his wife and kingdom. But Sugriva had his own doubts about the strength of Rama compared with that of Vali. Vali, the monkey despot, would every day jump to the 4 oceans for his morning ablutions. He could toss and play with a huge rock as if it were a tiny ball. He would uproot the huge trees in the forest with the ease of removing seedlings. Dundubi was an Asura in buffalo form. He had the strength of 1,000 elephants. No power on earth could contest with him. That demon fell foul of Vali and challenged him for a fight. It was accepted. At the first round, the buffalo demon was caught hold of by the tail, whirled round like a sling and dashed to the earth. Nose bleeding, he rose to pierce Vali to death with his horns. But the horns were caught hold of, the head thrust violently to the ground and the body crushed like a pumpkin. Dundubi was done to death. The huge corpse was lifted and flung far off. Drops of the dripping blood fell on Matanga Maharishi and polluted him while the dead body was whizzing through air. The polluted Maharishi spelt a curse. He who is responsible for this pollution shall not enter this ashrama. If he does, his head will crack. It was because of this curse Vali kept aloof from the presence of the Matanga ashrama. It therefore served as the asylum to Sugriva. Vali could with no strain uproot a sal tree and strip it of all leaves by a mere jerk. Rama and Lakshmana took this detailed account as a warning to them that Vali was a monkey of no mere valor. Sugriva silently and politely expected some kind of demonstration of Rama's prowess. Dundubi's mound-like skeleton was lying there. With a smart flip of the toe, Rama made it fly far off in the air before falling to the ground. Sugriva appreciated it. But compared with Vali's throw of 3 times heavy carcass, this act paled into insignificance. Piercing a sal tree with an arrow would be a better performance, thought Sugriva. Rama did accordingly. The shaft whizzed through not 1 but 7 sal trees, touched the earth and returned to the arrow case fastened to Rama's shoulder. Sugriva was amazed. No power on earth or in heaven could vanquish Rama. Friendship with him solved all life problems. Then the plan of encountering Vali was decided on. All the 3, Rama, Lakshmana and Sugriva, were to go to Kishkindha. The deprived and banished brother was to draw the aggressor into a combat. When it was in full swing, Rama was to stay in ambush and discharge the death arrow on Vali. Accordingly, Sugriva made the war cry. Vali heard it and hastened in fury from his fortress. The duel began between the 2 brothers and dragged on. Sugriva glanced this side and that for Rama's promised help, but no help came. His strength was declining. He managed to snatch himself away from the grip of Vali and to flee for life to Rishyamukha. In a while, Rama and Lakshmana also made their appearance there. The failure of the plan was discussed. Sugriva complained he was left in the lurch, if not betrayed. Rama pleaded he was in a fix. Vali and Sugriva were so much alike in appearance that it was difficult for him to distinguish the one from the other. It would have been a tragedy and a heinous sin if he had hit the one instead of the other. He suggested a second challenge, assuring death to the enemy. Lakshmana had put a flower garland on the neck of Sugriva to mark him out from his brother. On the morrow, in the right time, Sugriva hastened to Kishkindha, kept his allies hidden in a strategic spot, and raised the war cry with a voice louder than that on the previous day. It touched Vali to the quick. He resolved this time not to have any brotherly consideration. He had put on the gold chain amulet gifted to him by Indra. With a terrific face, he sprang to the doorway. Now Tara, the sagacious wife of Vali, instinctively intervened. She implored,
Lord, please pay heed to my prayer. The man who narrowly escaped death at your hand yesterday defies you today with an increased vigor. It indicates he has enlisted the help and protection of an invincible ally of tried valor. Our son Angada told me last night of the presence in this locality of Rama and Lakshmana, the princes of Ayodhya, young men of exemplary prowess. It seems Sugriva has sought their help. After all, he is your brother. I beseech you, please call him in and become reconciled with him.
Vali's face was aglow with anger. He thundered.
Am I to cringe in response to a defiant challenge? Will a warrior compromise with a foe who calls him to battle? Rama knows Dharma. He will not interfere in this domestic quarrel. Sugriva is a nuisance to me. I shall teach this impudent fellow a lesson for life and return.
Vali emerged from the fort like an angry tiger. The war ensued. The brothers fought valiantly. When Sugriva was at the point of waning, a deadly arrow pierced the chest of Vali. He fell like a clean-cut forest tree. Vali said,
Before I close my eyes, I would like to have a glance at the hero who aimed this fatal arrow.
Rama and Lakshmana presented themselves graciously. Then Vali spoke.
Rama, I have in no way wronged you. Why did you strike me when I was fighting with another?
You have wronged your brother who requires to be protected by you.
Rama is ever just and kind to people is a hearsay, but I see you in your true role. You are treacherous.
The wicked cannot escape from my arrow, Vali.
I never trespassed into your country. I have not defamed you. Still you have fatally hurt me.
I do not confine myself to one country. Wherever I see wickedness, I redress it. You are given to evil ways and lust.
After all, we are monkeys. We have no codes of conduct.
Animals are hunted by man without forewarning. But you do not come under that category. You are highly educated.
Your greed for this kingdom has driven you into the base act of pretension to back up a wrong man.
Rama does not speak in self-defense. His brother explains the position. Lakshmana says, It is not so. My brother has voluntarily renounced his vast empire and taken to asceticism in order to redeem our father from the guilt of false to promise.
You are arrayed as an ascetic, but you hurt others as a despot. Why do you practice deception in this fashion?
Punishing the wicked is as sacred as asceticism. I perform both.
You have allied with Sugriva to regain the lost Sita.
So it is. We are pledged in friendship.
With the loss of your wife, you have lost discretion also. A king ought to restore to another king for help, but you have instead gone to a forlorn fugitive.
I should not seek help from an unrighteous man, however great and readily available that help may be.
Do you know who has abducted your wife?
The late vulture king Jatayu gave me to understand that Ravana, the king of Lanka, had taken her away flying in the air.
Rama, you have blundered. That Ravana is my puppet. A word from me and he will come on his knees and submit Sita. Seated where you are, you may have got back your wife through my intervention.
I ask one thing of you, Vali. One man secretly steals and another openly plunders. Who of the two commits the greater offense?
The plunderer, of course.
Both you and Ravana are experts in abducting women. He steals and you plunder. Death is to be inflicted for the second-rate offense of stealing another man's wife. What else but death is to be awarded for the greater offense of plundering another man's wife? In the public welfare, I am resolved to exterminate both of you. Then how ask for your help, Vali?
But you gave me no forewarning.
Providentially, forewarning comes to all beings, but the wicked and the conceited pay no heed to it. Vali closes his eyes, reflects for a while, and says to himself,
Yes, my beloved Tara warned me. I ignored her advice.
Now Vali opens his eyes and charges Rama.
But why have you, like a coward, remained hidden and shot at me when I was engaged in duel with another?
It is not cowardice, it is strategy. God Indra gave you through the gold chain you wear the boon of appropriating to yourself half of the prowess of the foe that faced you in combat. The advantage of this boon over probable enemy engendered pride and heedlessness in you. You have abused this gift and you are a menace to society. My function is to annul this dangerous power in you, and I have executed it as I ought to. Vali swoons. After a while he regains consciousness and soliloquizes.
Oh, my end is nearing. The wheel of vanity has vanished from my heart. I realize the wrongs I have done. Still there is time to make amendments. Brother Sugriva, come near. Please forgive me. The crime I have committed against you is great.
Beloved brother, as a mark of love, I ought to have put up with your offenses. Instead, I have earned the infamy of the murderer of brother. I beseech your pardon. With your blessings, I shall quit Kishkindha, you crown Angada, and gain emancipation.
Let us now at least be united in love. You accept the kingdom. Make Angada the crown prince. Take Tara's counsel in matters important. She has always guided me on the right path.
Due to the sinking of energy, Vali was silent for a while, closing the eyes. Then gazing at Rama, he addressed,
O Rama, now I realize the glory of your arrow. It has broken the fetters of my evil karma.
Sugriva said, Brother, I shall fast unto death for my wickedness.
Not so, brother. You have to play a great part in the cause of Rama. Dedicate yourself, our kingdom, our populace, and our everything for the purpose of redeeming Sita. The gold chain on my neck becomes ineffective in a corpse. Before I breathe my last, you take and put it on your neck. I used it for selfish ends. You use it to serve Rama well. Rama, by your grace, I am freed. Jai Sri Ram.
Vali enters into the blissful beyond. The bereaved Tara made her desolate appearance on the scene of tragedy. The weeping and sobbing son Angada was with her. She embraced the remains of her erst husband and king. Heartrending was her lamentation. It was also thought-provoking, befitting a cultured woman.
O my lord, O my hero, many a hero you have been laying low. Now your turn has come to lie low. But why have you left me behind?
Sugriva watched this woeful scene. He was in the grip of a fresh feeling of remorse. His enmity to the brother was superficial. It had all melted and evaporated away. He bitterly cursed himself for being the cause of this calamity. In a faltering tone, he confessed to Rama that his own death alone on the spot would compensate for the crime that he had thoughtlessly committed. He pleaded that his generals would sincerely serve Rama's cause in finding out Sita. A similar death, kindly meted out to the revenge-stained younger brother, would cure him of his heinous sin. But if Rama was not prepared to kill the one to whom protection was assured, the second course open to him was to perish in a blazing fire. He resolved to resort to it. Rama, however, counseled him to the contrary and brought enlightenment to him in regard to sin and virtue. Rama was a calm spectator to Tara's bitter bereavement. She rolled on the ground and wailed,
O Vali, leaving beloved Angada behind as an orphan and me as a destitute widow, you have gone on a journey of non-return.
Now with no sign of anger on her face, she pleaded with Rama.
Rama, you the protector of Dharma, you know much more than anybody else does how painful it is for the husband and wife to be separated. That pain you have unwittingly brought on me. Please atone for it by dispatching me with your kind arrow to the region where you have sent my husband.
Rama pacified her, saying, Vali's earthly exploits are over. Now he has gone unto higher regions. Your mourning for him is a hindrance to him. On the other hand, your discharging the earthly duty assigned to you by him is a homage to him. Now the discerning Tara got somewhat composed. The obsequies of Vali were then performed with due rites. It was suggested that Rama should crown Sugriva the king of Kishkindha, but according to his vow of exile, Rama refused to enter any city, town or village. Permitted and directed by him, the coronation of Sugriva and Ruma, his queen, took place with all pomp at Kishkindha. Angada also was installed the crown prince. The rainy season was just then commencing. Rama and Lakshmana were to pass 4 months in a cave. The new king Sugriva's regime was to be jubilant within the fort of Kishkindha. After the inclement weather was over, parties of monkeys were to be dispatched in all directions in search of Sita. With this understanding, they dispersed. The wind blew howling furiously. The black clouds rolled one behind another like hills chasing one another. The rain lashed ceaselessly. The trees waved their branches hailing the wet weather. There was watery sight all around. Streams were in evidence everywhere. Rama's thought flew now and then to the plight of Sita. Lakshmana's task was to keep his brother's emotion in check. 4 dreary months passed in the cave in this manner. But at Kishkindha it was all merriment. Time hung heavy in the cave. It flew like a trice in the capital. This is how the world goes on. Happiness and sorrow are intermingled in it. The worldlings hug happiness and shun sorrow. At long last the rains were over. The sky was clear, the air was cool and fresh. Birds sang and chirped, indicating new life. Now Anjaneya, also known as Hanuman or Maruti, was the one individual in Kishkindha supremely above the worldly weal and woe. He was highly intelligent and virtuous. He approached his king Sugriva and reminded him of his duty to Rama.
It is Rama who has regained your ancestral kingdom for you. While you are soaked in the enjoyment of it, you have forgotten your promise to Rama. Staking your personal pleasure, you should carry out your commitment to your Redeemer. That is the only way to safeguard your royal prestige. The best course is to fulfill the promise before the due date. The delayed fulfillment of it is as bad as betrayal. Waiting for a reminder from the friend is equally bad.
The tipsy Sugriva thanked Anjaneya for his timely intervention and reminder. He summoned Nila and ordered him to call to duty the entire Vanara forces. Those who failed to come would be severely punished. After instructing Nila to this effect, Sugriva went again into the ladies' apartments. In the cave, Rama was restless over the indifference of Sugriva. He cogitated. The world beams with life. Sita is suffering somewhere. I sit helpless here. The ungrateful monkey king is making merry with wine and women.
Lakshmana hastened to Kishkindha and warned the wretch that if he proved himself false to promise, he would be dealt with as Vali was.
But remember, brother, be prudent. Do not hurt the man. After all, he is the only friend we have to depend on. In spite of this appeasement, bow in hand, Lakshmana went like a blazing fire to the gate of Kishkindha. The sentinels got scared and flew away in different directions, raising alarm. Providentially, the situation got somewhat pacified due to Angada chancing to meet and greet the enraged assailant. Because of the pitiable position of this prince, Lakshmana's fury was mitigated. Dear lad, go and tell king that I have come here seeking audience with him on behalf of my grief-stricken brother, was the message he sent in through the prince. Angada gained access to his uncle and explained the position. But the man was so much under the influence of liquor that he could neither see nor hear. With great difficulty, the ministers woke him up to reality. Sugriva muttered in broken words.
I have done no wrong to Rama. Somebody has poisoned his mind against me.
Hanuman clarified the position.
We have already delayed our action to the point of indifference to pledge. Rama is sorely grieved over the loss of Sita. Therefore, this is not the time for us to make merry. Any further delay will amount to betrayal of pledge. Rama's wrath will undo all that we have gained so far.
Now Sugriva resolved to amend the fault committed because of indulgence. Meanwhile, Lakshmana was marching towards the palace. He marveled at the beauty of the streets, the magnitude of the buildings, the elegance of the parks, the abundance of the costly commodity in the market, the refinement in dress, the comeliness in people, and at the orderliness prevailing everywhere. Evidently, the inhabitants of Kishkindha were called monkeys not for biological reasons but for poetic imagination. There would be poetry in us also if we kept up that imagination and humor. Lakshmana twanged the bowstring, causing fright all over Kishkindha. The alarmed Sugriva instinctively understood what the sound meant. Though intoxicated, he reached to it very sensibly by persuading Tara to go and pacify the infuriated brother of Rama. In the meanwhile, the tipsy king could compose himself and become presentable. Tara had now become the second queen of Sugriva. At the demise of one brother, it is customary in some society for his widow to become the wife of a surviving brother. That was what this woman had done, and there was among them nothing derogatory in it. Tara was not herself free from intoxication. She had used liquor moderately. She approached Lakshmana judiciously and presented the position very prudently.
Sugriva is over-enjoying the pleasures of the world that you have procured for him. Even sage Vishwamitra transgressed the bound when he fell victim to temptation. Then what to speak of the ordinary people like us? So please forgive Sugriva. Still in the midst of indulgence, he has not forgotten his duty to Rama. He has in time issued orders for the mobilization of the Vanara armies. In a day or two, all the divisions will be here. Now please come in and see Sugriva.
Sugriva stood up and received Lakshmana very politely. He stated,
I owe my everything to Rama. The question of ingratitude or indifference does not arise. I am a bit late. For that, I beg to be pardoned.
Lakshmana was quite satisfied with this explanation. He escorted Sugriva to Rama. In the meanwhile, the monkey and bear forces were arriving in large numbers from all quarters. The king of Kishkindha submitted that his entire manpower was at the disposal of Rama, but he entrusted the entire plan of action with Sugriva. He had full confidence in the capacity, sagacity, and maneuver of the newly made Ali. Sugriva's responsibility became great. He consulted his ministers and generals. The best of the enormous army were marshaled into 4 divisions. Suitable heads were appointed to be in charge of them, and they were dispatched in 4 different directions. They were to make diligent search for Sita and bring report within a month. The successful party would be abundantly rewarded. The division that went southward was commanded by Angada, assisted by the able Anjaneya. Rama knew the prowess of Hanuman, so he called him and gave a ring bearing his name. Sita would recognize that ring and feel assured of the genuineness of the messenger, said Rama. The battalions that went east, north and west returned in a month unable to find any trace of Sita in those regions. Their search was all in vain. Angada's battalion went south and searched the caves and forests of the Vindhyas. Kishkindha was near the modern Sabarimala and Pampa river. The modern Tenmalai and Podigai are the ancient Vindhyas. In this region they encountered an Asura and did away with him, fancying that he was Ravana. Then they looked here and there hoping to find Sita. Overcome by fatigue, hunger and thirst, they came by a dark cave from which birds were joyously emerging. Cool and fragrant breeze also was coming out from within. So they concluded there were water and vegetation in that place. They held one another by hand and felt their way within. After a long and expectant move, they saw light and were delighted. Presently they reached a luxuriant orchard with rivulets of crystal pure water. Further off, they saw a deserted city built of costly materials. A solitary old woman, a hermit with radiant face, was there. With all reverence, Hanuman approached her and asked for particulars about herself and the paradise-like place. Directed by the woman, the famished party first refreshed itself with the fruits found there in plenty. She then said,
My name is Swayamprabha. I am guarding this property which now belongs to Hema, a celestial woman residing in heaven. Formerly it belonged to Maya, a demon. He incurred the enmity of Indra and was slain by him. Who are you and how did you manage to come into this inaccessible abode?
Hanuman gave a brief account of Rama's episode and of his party's mission in finding out the stolen Sita.
The ascetic and venerable old woman said, Nobody who comes into this cave escapes and goes out alive. But since you have come on a holy purpose, I shall save you all by my ascetic power. Now all of you close your eyes. Now open your eyes.
The party did as it was directed and found itself bodily removed to the seashore. Now Angada found himself in a dilemma. The allotted time had been transgressed. If they returned to Kishkindha unable to get clues about Sita's whereabouts, they would be all given capital punishment. And here the deep sea prevented their further movement. In this plight, he preferred to fast unto death on the seashore. But Tharan, an officer in the army, suggested an alternative course. There was no need to perish either way. They would all get back into the Maya's paradise-like cave and thereby escape death. But Anjaneya did not approve of either course. The one was fatalism and the other careerism. The one was as bad as the other. He was for right action irrespective of the result. In the meanwhile, they were beset with another danger. A huge wingless vulture was approaching to consume them one after another. Their talk, however, about Jatayu arrested the movement of this vulture. He introduced himself as Sampati, the brother of Jatayu. Quickly they picked up friendship and kinship too because of their allegiance to Rama. Helped by the monkeys, Sampati could go to the seashore and perform obsequies of his departed brother Jatayu. Angada asked Sampati if he could in any way help the searching party to get information about Sita. The vulture said that though he was old, his eyes were still keen and that he could get yogic television of Sita. She was kept imprisoned in Lanka, and Rakshasis were keeping watch over her. This information delighted the monkeys, and they jumped for joy. Another happy miracle was that, as Sampati rendered this good turn in matters pertaining to Rama, his wings once burnt up in the proximity of the sun god got now renewed, and he became whole, as was prophesied by the Rishi Nishankara. The law of life is that they who do good to the world get themselves constantly renewed and rejuvenated. Now the Vanaras came with zeal to the seashore, but seeing the boisterous sea, they got dejected. In confusion, they ran here and there. It was a task for Angada to collect and compose them. He infused new spirit into them, stating,
Despondency is the cause of defeat in life. It ought to be shunned as poison. Take courage. Rouse yourself up to valor. Come, is there any among you who can jump across the sea into Lanka 100 yojanas away from here?
The Vanara warriors recounted their relative strength. There were a number of mighty men who could leap from 10 to 90 yojanas, but none beyond that. Ultimately, Angada assured he could clear 100 yojanas, but he doubted whether he would have enough energy left for a return leap. At this stage, the aged bear warrior Jambavan interposed. He viewed that it was not befitting the prince doing the errand that could be done by his retinue. A task of that kind was nothing tiresome to Jambavan in the prime of youth, but that youth was gone never to return. Still there was hope. Jambavan turned his attention to Hanuma and addressed him.
You, the son of Vayu, are the person best suited for this purpose. You are learned in all branches of knowledge. In strength there is none superior to you. You are as pure as your mother Anjana. When you were a child, you flew up to clutch at the sun thinking it was a bright fruit. You are as powerful as Garuda in the act of flight in the air. Again, air god, your father, is ever propitious to you. Brahma, the god of creation, has showered boons upon you. You are immortal. Death has no access to you. Weapons are powerless against you. Consonance is your celestial power. Therefore, you are invincible. Virtue and modesty are your ornaments. You are best suited to fulfill Rama's divine purpose.
As Anjaneya was listening to this elucidation, he became conscious of his latent power. He was increasing in size. Radiance was emanating from him. Above all, his mind got attuned to cosmic consciousness. Maruti required a footing to take off in the air. For this purpose, he went to the peak of the Mount Mahendra. He concentrated his mind on Sita in Lanka. Allegorically, Anjaneya is said to have assumed Vishwarupa, or the cosmic form. The mount was quivering under the stupendous weight of the cosmic form. The creatures in the cavities of the hill were rushing out in different directions to escape being squeezed to death. Hanuman swung the body forward and backward in order to gain momentum. The pressure he gave with his feet pulverized the rock. He shot up in the air and dashed southward like a glowing comet. The event of this spiritual transformation of Hanuman is a landmark in his checkered career. His office as minister to Sugriva is outgrown now. Henceforth, he is Ramadasa, the devoted servant of Rama. He has no other concern in life. As a character, he is on a par with Rama. Adoration to the one is equivalent to the adoration to the other. Another eternal variety is revealed in this act. Whoever dedicates himself to the service of God undergoes a spiritual transformation. Metaphorically, he grows in stature. The Lord shall have his chosen ones from stocks and stones, so goes the saying. It gets verified through his devotee. Blessed is he who dedicates himself to the service of the divine. Rama was in dire need of help for the recovery of Sita. For this purpose, he sought the help of ordinary beings such as birds and beasts. To a resourceful man, anything and everything, anybody and everybody are useful. Resourcefulness marks a man's worth. The plan of nature is such that a being is simultaneously helpful to one and antagonistic to another. Struggle for existence is therefore constructive as well as destructive. But Rama was by disposition helpful to all. His resorting to stern measures never transgressed the bounds. What he did in Kishkindha bears evidence to this fact.